Hello, welcome along to another football show here at Betfred. We are 7 games in to the Premier League season, and guess what? We've got an international break, but still plenty to talk about, and we're going to do it in the company of the former England goalkeeper, Paul Robinson. Great to have you, Paul. Another international break.
I know, I think they're too close together. I mean, us as former internationals and former players, after a tournament, you come back, you get into the Premier League, you get back with your teammates, and all of a sudden there's an international break in September. And I think fans feel it even more so. I think as players, it came too quick. And as fans, yeah, the Euros is great, the euphoria of England getting to the final. But then all of a sudden, Premier League starts again, brilliant. What everybody's been missing, the intensity of the Premier League. And then you've got another international break. But it's not just an international break. You're playing the likes of Andorra, San Marino. You're not playing Italy in the Euros final. So you've gone from international Euros final to Andorra and San Marino. You know, it's no disrespect, but it's not quite the same just as you got back into the Premier League.
Yeah.
And even the second one now, it's a little bit frustrating. It seems to have come around a little bit too quickly.
Well, it's come round maybe at the wrong time for your former club, Leeds United, because we sat here saying it's coming, this win is coming for Leeds United. Finally, it was the 7th time of asking. They beat Watford last time out. A few draws thrown in there, but brilliant to see them finally get the 3 points they probably deserved over the last few weeks.
Yeah, performance-wise, they have deserved. I mean, I've never been worried about them. We've discussed Leeds this season quite a bit. You know, you look at their run of results. Manchester United first day lost, disappointing. I was at the Everton game at Ellen Road, and they played really well. Yes, they probably...
It's a good result looking at how Everton have gone since.
Yeah, the way that they've gone since, absolutely. West Ham the other week, I was at Ellen Road again, really impressed with them first half. I was with one of my friends there who's quite close to the West Ham setup. He turned to me just before half-time and he went, nobody's done that to us this season. But then Leeds came out in the second half, Rafinha went off, and they were a different team. The performances have been there. They drew away at Newcastle, should have won again. So they were languishing in the bottom 3, bottom 4. But actually, when you talk about it and you look at it, I was never actually concerned because the performances were there, and it was only going to be a matter of time. Listen, it was a nervy 1-0 win against Watford. Goalkeeper dropped one. You know, it was a goal disallowed for Watford. It could well have been another draw.
Shouldn't have been, really. I know you're in the goalkeepers union, but
it was a huge 3 points at Ellen Road. I mean, it's only just taken them just above the bottom 3. I think they're 4th or 5th bottom now. But the signs are there now for progression, and they can go on from there. It was a massive 3 points.
Yeah, got to try and build on it. But as I say, it's probably come at the wrong time. Likewise, maybe for Tottenham as well, because they went through that run, won the first 3, lost the next 3, then won last time out as well.
I know, yeah. You look at the results again for Tottenham. They started so well. You know, the first 3, the 1-0 wins.
Yeah. And
do you know what? I think that was a little bit of a false sense of security because unlike Leeds, performances weren't there for Tottenham. And they surprised me the way they started the season. I think that the last result against Villa, that was a big result for them because performances weren't going too well. The manager was starting to come under a bit of pressure already, which is understandable. I mean, well,
they're a big club, aren't they? And expectations are high.
He wasn't the first choice. He wasn't the second choice. He wasn't the third choice. The manager was brought in as probably a stopgap until the manager that they want to come in. He started off unbelievably well. The performance against Arsenal was worrying, really worrying. I thought they were really poor. I mean, I sat here with you and discussed the North London derby, you know, tipped my old team. And do you know what? Arsenal have been poor this season. They turned up and they've gone on the opposite run to Spurs. Spurs started poorly and have seemingly fallen off. Arsenal have gone the other way. So after the North London derby, the win against Villa was a huge win for them. Yeah,
and the concern, of course, there's been a lot around that with Harry Kane and his future. He's not quite looked the right player or the right player we've come to expect of late. Are you confident that, you know, he'll pick up? He's got the quality to you know, find his best form again, or do you think it's too much of a distraction, all this transfer news?
I think it's going to be a distraction the whole season. We're always going to be talking about it. I said this to you last time we sat here. If he doesn't hit his best, if he doesn't hit the form that we expect, we're always going to be talking about it. And even if he does, we're going to be talking about it because he's playing so well. We'll say so-and-so is going to come in and buy him. I think knowing him, knowing the person that he is, he can't go out on a football pitch and not give his all. We haven't seen the Harry Kane that we know and love from a Tottenham point of view since before the Euros. I think when he started the Euros, he'll be the first one to admit that he was in poor form. The first 2 or 3 games of the Euros, he didn't look like he was going to score. And I don't think we've seen the best of Harry Kane for the last 6-8 weeks.
But why is that, Paul? I mean, it's hard as he's still, you said he wants to win, he's 100%, he's professional, he's multi-talented, but what goes on in a footballer's head? Is it just, do you worry about your form and does that kickstart things?
You do. You don't, it doesn't necessarily kickstart things, but you overthink. And as a player at that level, you're your own biggest critic. So the thing that I see with Harry Kane in that Tottenham team is, I see him getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
We all talk about the way he's adapted his game and the way that he drops deep.
He's trying to get more involved, trying to influence games.
And he brings other players in around him.
Yeah.
But like you quite rightly say, dropping deep and influencing games is at the detriment of when you think he's maybe dropping deep to try and get involved, to try and get the ball a bit more. Yes, he has got that in his game now, but at times he's missing the bit where he's working the box inside the two 18-yard lines, straight down the middle of the goal, and he's waiting for the service. When you look at the Spurs results the last few games, lost at Palace, lost at Chelsea, lost at Arsenal, he's not getting the service. The players around him aren't giving him the service that he needs. Hence the reason that you see him dropping more and more. We can talk forever and a day about him adapting his game and dropping into midfield and his range of passing and his vision. Yes, he's got all that to his game, but it's at the detriment at the moment of what he's doing in between the goal. I've no doubt it will come in time, but back to your original question, we're never going to stop talking about his future until he A, signs a new contract, or B, leaves the club.
Yeah, well, something's going to give, isn't it? Might be in January, might be next summer. And their next game as well is Newcastle United. Some really interesting news over the last 24 hours. It looks so this Saudi Arabian takeover might not go through. A few I's and T's to dot and cross, isn't there, as far as this is concerned? But I mean, that could have repercussions for Newcastle, the money, and maybe for Steve Bruce as well.
Who'd be a Newcastle fan, eh?
Yeah.
How many times have we seen this and have we heard this for the Newcastle fans?
Well, I've had 2 or 3 of my friends, Newcastle fans, texting me going, yes,
finally.
Yeah,
finally.
But I've had these before. It's been going on a while. You know how it works.
But that's the thing with Newcastle. Yeah. They've been let down so many times by potential takeovers, potential investment into the club, potential spending by the club. And I think now, from a Newcastle fan's point of view, until they actually see something that's on the table, until they see a takeover happening, I don't think they'll get too excited yet. But I think looking at it, reading from the outside, this looks like the closest that they've been for a long time. And reading what I've read, it doesn't look like it's going to be a small influx of money. It looks like there's going to be a huge influx of money.
Could you imagine that at Newcastle? I mean, they've got the support, the infrastructure, the stadium, 3 or 4 or 5 players. They could be, they could be challenging, not saying for the title, but certainly the top half.
When you look at what happened at Manchester City, if we're talking at that level of investment, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
From where Manchester City were to where they are today is day and night. And if that comes into Newcastle are nowhere near as far down the pecking order as Manchester City were when they were taken over. It's a ground that I love playing at. The supporters there are fantastic. The supporters there deserve success. I mean, nobody deserves success without earning the right for success. But if anybody does, it's those supporters. They've travelled up and down the country, regardless of what league that club's in, and they travel in their thousands everywhere. And it's a great stadium, it's a very, very passionate support. And for a club like that, when Manchester City are in that position, you kind of don't begrudge them getting that kind of investment, because from the outside looking in, from a neutral's point of view, you'd love to see Newcastle do well. They've had so many opportunities and potential investment, but this looks like it could be the one, Could
happen. You love playing there. It's not great to support if you're on that
top
tier.
It's a long way
down,
it's a long way
isn't it? Yeah, you can't see very much. So Newcastle could be contenders. We know about the contenders already. It's sort of panning out after 7 games. But, I mean, what about that final game? If we were going to have a sign-off from the Premier League, it was the action at Anfield, that brilliant 2-2 between City and Liverpool.
It was a great advert for the Premier League, wasn't it? It was a great advert for the Premier League. I think Manchester City have come out of that game with more plaudits than Liverpool. I think it was a game of 2 halves, really. I think Liverpool really came back into it and showed how good they were in the second half. Manchester City is strong, as we know, but they're getting a lot of plaudits for playing without the number 9.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of questions raised as can they do it all season? Can they play with a false 9 as such for the whole season? But Jesus is stepping up to it. The way that they're playing, Foden's coming into it, Grealish, the attacking prowess that they've got is incredible. And they showed away at Chelsea. I wrongly sat here and backed Chelsea to beat them. They beat Chelsea away. And then look at what they did at Anfield. But that game, as an advert for the Premier League, was incredible. And those 2 teams on the day, I said here a long time ago that too many people had written Liverpool off.
Yeah.
They've still got the strong squad that they had. They didn't make many additions to it in the summer, but they signed key players on long-term contracts. Keeping those players fit is going to be key to their success. What they do in January when they lose Salah and Mane, with the African nations, will be interesting. But I think we saw a fantastic advert. And in all honesty, I think we saw the 2 best teams in the Premier League play.
Well, I mean, the 10-11 City in the betting, they are still short. Liverpool at 4-1. I mean, after what we saw, surely that's value, isn't it?
It's huge value. Yeah, it really is huge value. And I think there'll be a lot of Liverpool supporters looking at that and, having a little bet on that. Because, like I say, you saw the way they play. On their day, Liverpool are almost unplayable. When they're in full flow, they're one of, if not the best teams in the league. Like we just said, along with Manchester City. the forward play that they've got, but they've got the defensive side to it as well. The key for Liverpool is keeping players fit, because they haven't got that strength and depth that City have got. You look at Liverpool's squad, they've taken Wijnaldum out of it this year. He played the majority of games last year. You look at the front three, okay, they've got Jota, they've got Origi to come into it, but if they lose Salah and Mane, Jota and Origi, probably not the same type of play. Will they fit into a front three? Origi maybe won't play in a front three. It'd have to alter his shape a little bit. January is going to be a big month for Liverpool, how they cope with losing a couple of players.
Yeah, I've got to ask about James Milner, actually, because he's a mate of yours. Yeah. What's he doing with himself? What is he doing with himself? Because he's getting better with age almost, isn't he?
He's just a fantastic advert for how to look after yourself as a footballer. And he always was when he was younger.
Yeah.
I don't think he does anything different now to what he did when he was 16, 17. He lived his life 24/7 for football, and that's what he does now, and he's reaping the rewards of it.
Yeah.
He's not just playing every now and then. He can play week in and week out at the top level. It just shows you how he looks after himself on and off the field.
He's always been the same. But very level-headed as well, isn't he?
Very level-headed.
Yeah.
But the biggest credit you can give him is that football's evolved. Gone are the days where, when I used to play, when I very first started, where you'd have a Wednesday off and you play every Saturday. Now they're playing 3 games a week.
Yeah.
You can't have Monday, Tuesday, I'll do a little bit of training and then train Thursday, Friday for the game. It's a lifestyle. You go home, you eat the right meals, you do different things. I did a goalkeeping thing with Asmir Begovic yesterday, and the level that he's at now at his age, they went out for dinner the night before. I met him at the event yesterday, and he took his own dinner out to the hotel where they went for dinner.
Wow.
He went out for dinner, met a few friends, and because it's so strict and it's such a lifestyle, he took his own dinner with him to have the night before. So that just gives you a little insight as to how players now look after themselves. Yeah,
your fish and chip supper on a Thursday night would have been long gone, Paul.
After training on a Tuesday, it wouldn't happen anymore, no.
It's just a quick one on United as well, because they've come under a little bit of pressure. Everyone was talking about United a couple of weeks ago, and now, the 16s for the title, Ronaldo effect and all the rest of it, but they do look just a little bit way off as a team. As a team.
Yeah, you're right. They've got the components of a fantastic squad, and there's no doubt about the players that they've got there. But the manager's got to manage the players in the right way.
Yeah, is he managing them right?
I don't
Solskjaer?
think so. I've always said I don't think he's the right man to manage Manchester United, in my opinion. He's proved a few people wrong along the way, but they haven't actually challenged where I would expect them to be right now. You look at Ronaldo, you look at Cavani, 34, 35, whatever they are. Manchester United are going to play 60 games this year.
Yeah.
Neither of them can play 60 games.
But he got stick, didn't he, for resting one of them?
Yeah, but you have to pick the right game.
Yeah.
You pick the right game.
Wasn't right.
Old Trafford at home against Everton is not the right game to leave Ronaldo out. If you're playing away somewhere on a midweek that it might be a little bit different,
cold night
you rotate your players around. You don't leave Ronaldo out in a home game at Old Trafford when, one, the punters have paid hundreds of pounds to come and see Ronaldo. But if he's going to perform at his best, it's going to be at home at Old Trafford in front of those fans.
Yeah.
I think you have to manage the players and pick the right players for the right games.
Yeah, did he get it wrong? Could there be a change of manager there? He's still under a little bit of pressure, isn't he? I
think he always will be. And until there's any kind of silverware there, I think he always will be. I think, when you look at what these goals are for this season, you look at the way they approach the League Cup, the FA Cup. Are they going to win the Champions League? Probably not.
Yeah.
Are they going to win the Premier League? Probably not. Are they going to win the FA Cup? Got an outside chance.
Yeah.
The League Cup, what an opportunity to just get some silverware, get a European place, get some silverware, show progression. Because Champions League, no. Premier League, unlikely. FA Cup, half a chance. League Cup, great chance. So there's got to be some kind of progression, some kind of silverware to show where he's taking that club forward. Yeah,
and they're going to play the City and Liverpool in coming weeks as well, United. So, I mean, he is under massive pressure, isn't he?
It's going to be a big. It's going to be a big 2-3 months. I think we'll know a lot about Manchester United, or we'll know a lot more about Manchester United in January, where they are.
Yeah, we shall see. Well, we won't know where they are this weekend because they've got the weekend off, but plenty of their players, of course, are involved in international games. We kind of started the show, didn't we, talking about international. I mean, you were hugely proud of playing for England as well. When you were on a run of form, though, as you said before, did it feel like it kind of got in the way of the international football, or is it still, I don't know, part of being an international footballer? That's how it works. You know that's coming, and you brace yourself for it, or you ready yourself for it.
You know it's coming, and you set your mind. You look at your fixtures, your upcoming focus, and you focus on the next 2 or 3 weeks and where you're going to be. And I think as a footballer, it's less intrusive than it is for a fan.
Does it feel like a break in some ways, though, from day to day?
I think when I retired from international football, it certainly felt as a break because then you got your days off. If you played on a Saturday and the internationals would meet up on a Monday, if you were still at the club, you played on a Saturday, you probably wouldn't report for training until Tuesday or Wednesday. You'd train Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you'd probably get the next Saturday, Sunday, Monday off until the internationals came back in. So if you weren't involved in the international time, and when I'd retired, that was a time that I enjoyed and I looked forward to because it was a break. And it was an opportunity to have a rest. But at the time when you're playing, you don't really think about the international breaks. It's because your season kind of snowballs and it just keeps going. You don't think, oh, I've only played 3 Premier League games now it's an England game. You kind of accept it all as one. But like I said at the beginning of the show, from a fan's point of view, it's so disruptive. It really is. No disrespect, like I said, Andorra, Hungary, San Marino, not quite the same as the Euros final. Yeah,
you're not going to be pumped for games like that as such, are you? Although every time you pull on the shirt, you get that pride, don't you?
You say that, you're playing for your country, and it's another cap. We all talk about records, we all talk about goal-scoring records, clean sheet records, the amount of caps that players get. You do well to turn an England cap down. They don't come around very often and they're not very easy to come by. So if you get an opportunity to get one, you take it.
Yeah, well, you're 41, didn't
41,
you? I bet you'd like to have got the 50, wouldn't you? But
I would have loved to have got the 50, but there was a certain Italian than I that didn't get on.
We'll say no more. So, I mean, we'll talk about the internationals. UEFA Nations League, we'll quickly turn our attentions to that because Belgium and France, 2 heavyweights going head to head. Italy were beaten last night as well, but there were circumstances there. But that's a good game tonight, isn't it? Lukaku flying. There's got to be goals in that tonight, isn't there?
It's a fantastic game. On paper, you look at it. I mean, I watched the Spain-Italy game last night. First game that Italy have lost in 35, I think it was. And they had a man sent off and they almost didn't
37
get
it was, 37
I mean, that's
games. A lot
it was
of games,
an incredible run that they had. And for Spain to beat them last night, Spain were good. Even though Italy had 10 men, Spain still had to be at the best to beat them, and it was a great game. And I'm expecting the same from Belgians tonight. I think Belgium and France on paper is a fantastic game, and it sets a great, Nations League final up. You look at that tournament; it's had its critics, but then you look at the teams that are in the last 4. Teams are taking it seriously. But tonight, there's two teams there that have got great attacking prowess. Neither of them's strength is really at the back. They showed in the Euros that they're both strong, they're both powerful. And it's a clash of the heavyweights tonight. It'd be interesting to see what the odds are. Have you got any odds there on Belgium? I'd make Belgium slight favourites.
Belgium are 19-10 and France are 6-4 the price. So
I think your market there is in goals because I think there's going to be goals in that game tonight. I don't think there's teams that are going to look to shut up shop and defend against one another. I think it's 2 teams that are obviously going to look to go and win the game, and I think they'll be open, they'll leave spaces. So I think your market's probably in goals, and I'd definitely go for more than 2.5 goals in that game. Yeah,
well, it might take that to win it, that's for sure, because you'd expect one or the other to score. Of course, Italy got beaten last night, so Spain away in the final. Let's hear from the European journalist Tancredi Palmeri, who's excited as well for this one.
It's strange because, in my opinion, they were the 2 big disappointments of the Euros. France had the best team overall, no discussion. Nobody and no bookmakers debated the fact that nobody was better than France on paper before the Euro started. And they disappointed so much. You might not win when you are the best, but you can go out in the round of 16 against Switzerland. Belgium was disappointed either, though, because France are world champions. So anyway, they did accomplish. They could do better, but they did accomplish. Belgium, it's worth to remind that never won anything in their history. The maximum they reached was the Euro final in 1972 and 1980 here in Italy. So there are these 2 factors fighting. On one side, you think about France and you say, they bottled once, they can't bottle twice. But is the camp, because there was something that cracked in the camp in France. Mbappé was complaining, Rabiot mother was complaining with Mbappé entourage saying, look, he's playing for himself. There was some kind of intrinsical, if that word exists in English, as in Italian, problem. So I don't know if within 2 months it has been already solved. At Belgium, there was the problem of growing up. but they weren't one against each other. I would say 2-1 for Belgium, not necessarily in the 90 minutes. Lukaku scoring. Benzema scoring for France. And the second one for Belgium, maybe Carrasco. That's definitely not the best one over there, but he got this. Sometimes he's the man that is coming up in the last 20 minutes, and he got space on the flank too hard.
There you go. I used the word intrinsical there. I'm not sure I use that word. Well, he's gone for Belgium 2-1. That is Belgium win both teams to score 5-1. You mentioned the goals, over 2.5, 6-5. Could there be over 3.5, 3-1?
There could well, because this could be a 2-2 draw, extra time. This, I mean, if you're going to bet the whole way through, don't bet in 90 minutes, take it the whole way, go for the result with the goals. I think that's where the value is. It's definitely going the full length. This could well end up a draw after 90 minutes. Extra time, goal market, that's the way forward. Yeah,
there's plenty to get stuck into. As far as England are concerned, they play on Saturday night, and, well, they're so short in the market. I think they're 1-100 England for the win, so there's no real value in that. Andorra have never scored a goal against England. Did you ever face Andorra?
I think I probably did, yeah.
So you didn't concede a goal?
Well, obviously not, I hope so. It was one of the few.
How difficult is it as a goalkeeper? You've played in these games, haven't you, where basically you hardly get a touch ball.
It's a free cap.
Yeah.
It's a free cap, because you know the team.
But there's pressure, isn't it? Because you don't want to be that keeper who has one save and lets it.
Exactly. You've got to concentrate all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
is that harder in a way?
It's difficult enough as a goalkeeper concentrating for 90, 94 minutes, whatever it is anyway. You have to concentrate that whole time. But when you're not involved in the game, keeping yourself involved is the hardest thing. I used to find that I'd move around on the edge of the box. So if the ball was on the right, I'd be able to keep myself on the right and just track the ball wherever I was, track my distances, track the ball, and I'd just shout useless information at defenders. You know, because there's the crowd and everything, they can't hear it. So when they're at the other end of the field, you keep yourself entertained or
you keep yourself in the game,
by commentating almost.
Yeah.
You're almost commentating, oh, well done this, good that, come here, pass here, and you keep yourself involved in the game like that. But yeah, it's almost a free cap, and like you said, against Andorra, who've never scored against England, I suspect we'll see a fully changed England side tonight, whether Jordan Pickford plays or not. We saw Sam Johnson play last time at Wembley, so maybe he'll change it. I've looked at the team now from the strongest team that he picked last time. Calvin Phillips, Harry Maguire are missing from that. So the first game against Andorra, I can see almost 11 changes. Whether he plays Pickford or not, I don't know. That's one of the options that he's got. I think Henderson will come into midfield. I think he'll change the system as well, like he did at home against Andorra. I think he'll go 4-3-3, which will give others an opportunity, whether Watkins comes in, whether Lingard comes in. But the next two games, you look at the fixtures that they've got, you'd expect England to win the next two games and qualify comfortably. Yeah,
England, I mean, the handicap betting might be the way forward here. +4 or -4, so England getting a -4 start, or Andorra getting a +4 start. 7-4 England.
Well, they only beat them 4 at home,
so
there's an opportunity there. Like you say, there's no value in backing England whatsoever, because it would be one of the biggest upsets in world football if they lost. Your value is in how many goals and who's going to score them.
What are you thinking? 3-0, 4-0, 5-0?
Yeah, what, 3, 4, 5, something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the amount of cards, because Andorra could get frustrated, start kicking the England players. So you've got to be creative in this market. This is not just a case of backing England to win. Be a little bit creative. How many corners they're going to get? You know, I can see them getting more than 5 corners each half.
Yeah.
More than 5 corners, 5 goals, and pick a couple of goal scorers. Your value in this one is being creative, not just backing England.
Yeah, it's too easy, is it? And then Hungary, that'll be a slightly different test, because we've seen them, they're capable, aren't they? They've got a couple of decent players as well. It's a home game as well, and you get that expectation level, don't you, at Wembley?
I expected more from the Hungarians when they played them away. I really did. I thought they were disappointed when they played them away.
So rolled over, didn't they?
Yeah, so when they come to Wembley, I would expect it to be a fully changed England side. Obviously, without the two I mentioned, Maguire and Phillips, who are missing, I suspect him to revert back to his 4-2-3-1. You'll expect the likes of Sterling, Mount, Grealish to come in behind Kane. He'll start with the strongest 11. Like I said, against Andorra, I think we'll see a fully changed team. But at home against Hungary, I think he'll go strong.
We might see Tammy Abraham as well as
possibly.
In the squad,
well, that's what I've got written down here for the Andorra game. It's either Watkins up front or Tammy Abraham, whichever one that he prefers, with possibly Saka and Foden alongside them. Is the type of predicted lineup that I've got. But I mean, as I say, at home against Hungary, the Hungarians, they're sitting on 10 points in the group, sat in 4th. I expected them to have a little bit more. You know, they're behind Poland, behind Albania. England are going to qualify. They're going to qualify with ease, and I thoroughly expect them to beat both of these next two sides extremely comfortably.
Yeah. Do you still enjoy watching England? Do you watch the games?
I do, yeah. I do make a point of watching the games. Whether I enjoy certain games, I do. The Euros, I absolutely loved watching.
Yeah, brilliant, wasn't it?
But, you know, Andorra game, I'd rather have the Premier League.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Not the only game, of course, because the international home internationals also in action as well. Wales take on the Czech Republic. We'll get Paul's thoughts on that in a moment. But it's just one win in 3 matches for Wales. Stellar performances at the Euros. Let's say from the former Welsh international, Rob Earnshaw.
Well, interesting. This is a huge game. Huge game. I mean, obviously Belgium leading, by far the best team. You know, deservedly as well. They've been excellent, but also they've got some great players. But then you look at, okay, who's going to finish second? Czech Republic and Wales now are the two that should do, one of those two. But it's hard because Czech Republic, very good team. I think I'm hoping, from a Wales perspective, that Wales get a win or minimum a draw. Because I think the difference is, I think Czech Republic have played one more game on the same points. So it gives you a chance to go into Estonia. You win that one. Maybe there's an upset with Czech Republic at some point. It makes a difference, but you can't lose. Can't lose. But really looking at the game, if you want to qualify, it's a must win for Wales. So, but it's going to be tricky because you look at the first game, Wales win 1-0. Last 10 minutes, Dan James gets the winner, just about. But I was actually covering that game. I was in the stadium. I was covering that game for media, and it was an interesting because Wales got outplayed in the first half completely. Janto, Schick, Souček from West Ham as well. Very good, very smart movements. They had a few chances, got away with it, and then Schick gets sent off in the first game. It just gives Wales a big lift. And then going into the last 10 minutes, Dan James gets a winner with Gareth Bale assist. So big moments that happen in that game. You can't allow Czech Republic to have those same chances in this game. And that's going to be the difference. If we keep them quiet, Wales keep them quiet, and the likes of Aaron Ramsey now is back. We're looking at him, and hopefully he's the influence. I'm looking at 2-1. 2-1 Wales. I'm going to go for Wales, but Czech Republic are dangerous. But I'll go for a 2-1 because I think hopefully we be highly motivated, and the likes of Aaron Ramsey, who's always a goal threat, and Dan James getting released, hopefully. And also the other one is Kiefer Moore, who's come in. He's another one who's going to contribute, a goal scorer. So 2-1 Wales. I'm predicting. I'm hoping, but it's going to be very, very difficult away in Czech Republic.
Yeah, he's optimistic, isn't he? No Gareth Bale. I mean, that's massive, isn't it? So would a draw would probably be a good result if they could make one. That's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, a huge result for them would be a draw. I think without Gareth Bale, you look at their team, Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey, Dan James, they do rely heavily on a nucleus of 3 or 4 players. And without Bale, who we know always turns up in an international shirt, it's going to be a big ask. It's going to be a difficult place to go, the Czech Republic. They're both sitting in the group on 7 points. Belgium are going to win this group comfortably. We knew that from the start. It's all about who qualifies second. And as Rob quite rightly said then, this is a big game. They got one over them in the first game. Like you say, I think a draw would be a really good result for Wales. Yeah,
if they could take 4 points off the Czechs, that would be massive. It's a bit Groundhog Day as well for Scotland. They're taking on Israel. It's the 5th time in 13 months or 7 contests in the last 3 years that they've made. It sometimes happens this, doesn't it, where you keep seemingly playing the same country over again. But Scotland, to win that one, are they going to get the victory, even money for a Scots win? They're at home.
I fancy Scotland to win. They're coming off the back of 2-0 wins. I think what Steve Clarke's done there, he's blended a group of players together. Okay, they might not be the highest quality that they've ever had, but they look like a unit. They've gone on from the Euros. They didn't win. We know that. They got a draw against England. They've taken a lot from that. They've kept the squad together. Andy Robertson's been a leader, among that team. You look at the likes of John McGinn there, Shea Adams, Lyndon Dykes. They've got an attacking threat there as well. And I think where Israel are in the group, the Scots are sitting on 11, Israel 10, second and third. Again, it's another big game for them, but they're at home and it's a game I can see them winning.
There you go. So good luck to all the home internationals as well. So probably your best bet of the weekend. You may be talking about England. Which way would you play it, Paul?
The best bet of the weekend?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'd stick my neck out and put Wales to win as well. So
Would you?
I'd go for the home 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
be a little bit patriotic.
Yeah. I mean, England's a gimme, isn't it?
There's a risk element in there.
Yeah.
If you can construct a bet with England more than 3 goals and Scotland and Wales both to win, I wouldn't bet that would be a decent odds. Wales might be the only one that let you down there.
Yeah, but you will get a big price for that.
But you get a decent price on it. Yeah, it might be a little nice one with the 3 home nations.
There you go. Get your feet up, Paul Robinson. You can watch the football this weekend without the worry of Leeds or Spurs. I know you follow those pretty patriotically as well. Brilliant to have you as always. There you go. That is it as far as the football show is concerned. Whatever you're having a bet on this weekend, all the very best of luck.